Alright, here is your test 5.2 review key. We're going to do this a little bit differently than normal. I'm going to go through it and pick out some problems to do, but I am not going to do all of them. I'm going to show you a few examples, and then using those examples, you need to complete the rest of your review. So number one, I'm going to start there with mean absolute deviation. So with mean absolute deviation, the first thing you have to do is find the mean or the average of your data. So to find that, we're going to add up all of our data points. So 10 plus 12 plus 11 plus 15 plus 9 plus 8 plus 5. Add those up and we get 70. And then we divide those by the number of numbers we added. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 70 divided by 7 is 10. So the average for our data is 10 gallons. To find the mean absolute deviation, we then have to find out how far each of our data points is from 10. So we're going to subtract. 10 minus 10 is 0. 12 minus 10 is 2. 11 is 1. 15 minus 10 is 5. 10 minus 9 is 1. 10 minus 8 is 2. And 10 minus 5 is 5. Once we have our data points, we're going to go ahead and average all of those. So 0, you have to include it, plus 2, plus 1, plus 5, plus 1, plus 2, plus 5. Add those up, you're going to get 16. And just like we did before, we're going to do 16 divided by 7. Remember, these two numbers should always match. 16 divided by 7, you get 2.28. Now be careful. We're going to go back, read our question. To the nearest tenth, what is the mean absolute deviation? So we're going to round to that point right there. So we look at the number after it. Because this is an 8, the 2.28 is going to bump up. It's about 2.3. The next problem I'm going to do for you, we did number 2 for your warm-up today. So I'm going to skip that one. We're going to go to number 5. So the first thing about number 5 that you need to know is these are decimals over here. So 58.5, 50.5. I know the table's a little blurry. So we're going to average those data points just like we did before. So 58.5 plus 50.5 plus 53 plus 54 plus 55.5 plus 52.5. We add those up, we get 324. And because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data points, we divide that by 6. And we get 54. Now that we know the mean of our data, we have to go through and find the difference between the mean and our data points. So 58.5 minus 54 is 4.5. 50.5 minus 54, 3.5. 1, 0, 1.5, and 1.5. And then average those data points. So 4.5 plus 3.5 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1.5 plus 1.5. Add those up, we get 12. Divided again by 6. Remember, these must match. 12 divided by 6, we get 2. Okay, so those are your examples for mean absolute deviation. The next section we're going to talk about is simple interest. So go ahead and start looking at number 7. That's where I'm going to head next. You're starting your own business in Houston. You borrowed $10,000 from the bank at a rate of 9% for 5 years. what will be the total amount you owe the bank at the end of 5 years. So simple interest, go back to doing this, you need to start with your variables. So principal, remember, is the initial amount, it's what you start with. So you borrowed $10,000. That's your principal. At a rate of 9%, that one, easy to find, but remember, turn that percentage into a decimal. So 0.09. In time, they gave us that one, 5 years. Remember, for time, if they give you months, you do have to divide that by 12 to convert it to years. Then you're going to plug those values into your formula, PRT. So we know the principal is 10,000, rate 0.09, and the time is 5. We're going to go ahead and multiply all of those together, and we get 4,500. Now, if we look at that, we just found letter I. Remember, I stands for your interest. But we need to go back and read our question. It says, what is the total amount that you would owe the bank? So to find our total, we have to add these two values. So you're going to add the interest back to the principal that you also have to pay back. So you would owe the bank a total of $14,500. Now on your test tomorrow, this interest value, that would be an answer choice. So make sure you go back, read that question, and you pick the answer that answers what this question is asking. Next, number 9. You took out a loan for $25,000 at a rate of 7.8% to buy a new car. You repaid the loan in the amount of $34,750. How long did it take you to pay off the loan? So the loan, that's your principal again, $25,000. The rate, 7.8%. Move that decimal back, 0.078. And this time they told us the total that you paid back. So remember, if they give you the total to find the interest, you have to subtract. So we're going to do 34,750 minus my principal. We get 9,750. That is the amount of interest that was paid back. So this time, we are looking for time. So plug in what you know. I know I is 9,750. My principal is 25,000. My rate is 0.078. And we are looking for T, time. So to start, you multiply the two variables you know. We know P and R, so we're going to multiply those, so we get 1,950, and then bring down T. And that is equal to our interest, 9,750. To get T by itself, we're going to use inverse operations. Divide. So that cancels. Remember, this is the fraction that you must type into your calculator. If you do not type it in this way, you will not get the correct answer. Divide that out, we get 5 equals T. So it was in there for 5 years. Next, number 12. No, sorry, 13. We invested $5,000 at an anticipated rate of 4.5% compounded annually for 20 years. What is the difference in our ending balance if the actual rate is 6% instead of 4.5%? So compound interest, Our formula is a little different, but our variables all mean the same thing. Okay, so P is still the principal, so invests $5,000. R is the rate. Here we have two separate rates. And then T is our time, in this case, 20 years. So we're going to first do this problem with our interest rate of 4.5%. So A equals 5,000 times 1 plus my rate, 4.5%, 0.045, to the T, my time is 20. Remember, that is an exponent. You have to type it in as an exponent or you will not get the right answer. If you type that in your calculator, that comes out at $12,058.57. Next, we're going to do this problem with an interest rate of 6%. So A equals 5,000. The only thing that's going to change is my R. It's going to be 0.06 this time. And everything else stays the same. That comes out to $16,035.68. And so we want to know the difference in her ending balance. So we're going to take these two values and subtract them. So 16,035.68 minus 12,058.57. Subtract those, you get $3,977.11. So that would be your final answer. So be careful tomorrow. If you see $12,058.57, don't pick that automatically because it's an answer choice. There was still a lot of the problem we have left to do to get to our final answer. Oh, sorry, go back. We're going to do number 14 as well. Logan invests his allowance of $150 into a savings account that is compounded annually at a rate of 11%. How much interest has he earned in 3 years? So our principal is 150. It's what he invested, how much he started with. 1 plus always stays the same. The rate is 11% as a decimal, 0.11. And then our time, 3 years, or to the power of 3. Type that in your calculator. You get 205.14. Now that's letter A. In case you forgot, A stands for the total amount in the account. So this is the total amount that Logan would have at the end of 3 years. The question says, how much interest has he earned? So to find the interest, we're going to take our total and subtract his investment, his principal. If you go ahead and subtract those, you're going to get $55.14, and that would be your final answer. Okay, you need to go ahead and finish the rest of your review. This will be due for a homework grade tomorrow before you take your test.